guys, this is my 33-week update. I'm pregnant with my twins, and some interesting stuff happened this past week, so got some good stories for you this time. If you got to watch my 31-week update, you know that I was having a lot of shoulder pain, my fingers were swelling, and little things like that. This time, for the last 2 weeks, I've really still been getting the fingers swelling, especially at nighttime. My feet have swelled up a couple times, but not consistently. And I've just been getting a lot more Braxton Hicks contractions. So I've been getting those for a while, since probably, let me think, like the very almost beginning of the second trimester, I've started getting Braxton Hicks. And so I just get a lot more now, especially in the last couple weeks. And recently I've been getting ones that are longer than 10 seconds, 20 seconds, whatever it is, where they'll last like a full minute or even sometimes 2 minutes. So I mentioned it to the doctor, and we had done a non-stress test, and they showed me that I was having real contractions, but not labor contractions. So they were longer and stronger than Braxton Hicks, but I wasn't in labor. So they're like, no, those are real, but it's not like I'm not dilating or anything like that. I'm like, okay, kind of interesting. And so that was at my 32-week appointment, was we noticed that, and that's when the doctor told me we're going to be doing non-stress tests, which was when they monitor the babies for their heart rates for, I think, like 20 minutes minimum, and then they just want to see a couple accelerations in their heart rates and see how they kind of handle, like if I'm getting a Braxton Hicks or a contraction, how they respond to that. And so they watch their heart rates, and it also can track if I'm having a contraction. And so I saw some big ones come up, and they're like, ooh, that's a good one. I was like, yeah. And so they're not painful, but they're really tight, and sometimes I do have to breathe through them and focus on my breathing, because it just really tightens up around my diaphragm. But the babies were still measuring fine, and everything looked good. Then this week's appointment, which I'm 33 weeks today, today's Sunday, and I went for my appointment on Friday to do not an ultrasound, but just the non-stress test. I was getting some like strong ones as I was going up into the building and going up the elevator and stuff. So I got in there, they strapped me in, and I swear, like, once they strapped me in, I felt like, whoa, those are really tight. And then I just started contracting, and it was just like non-stop. So they were commenting on it, and they ended up, like, the contractions ended up being like 1 to 2 minutes apart. The longest I went was maybe 4 minutes, but I was having them otherwise very consistently and close together. And they were like going like up and like over what the chart can measure. And I was starting to sweat. It wasn't painful, but definitely had to really focus on my breathing. And I was sweating and like very uncomfortable, and they couldn't get a reading on baby B's baseline heart rate, so they couldn't figure out if baby B was having decels or decelerations in her heart rate after the contractions, or if she was returning to a baseline. So something about that, they just couldn't figure out what her baseline was. So they sent the chart over to the doctor, and he was like, you know what, just send her down to labor and delivery, especially because she's having these contractions so close together. And so at that point, I was like getting kind of nervous, and I didn't know if I should have Micah come to the hospital or not, or if they were just going to send me home. So they said that, oh no, you'll be there at least 2 hours, because they'll check your cervix and then check it again to see if you're dilating. And so you'll be there for a while. So I had Micah come, and I was a little freaked out. They also couldn't, then I got down there to labor and delivery, and they strapped me onto another non-stress test, and the nurse could not find the heart rate for baby B, which I was like, don't panic, but it was making me worried because baby B was the one that they couldn't figure out the baseline. Was she having D cells? We don't know. And then now this other nurse couldn't find her heart rate, and I was like, what the heck? And she's like, I think that's it, but it might be the other one. And yeah, so that was kind of nerve-wracking. So they had the doctor come in, do an ultrasound, and find the baby's positions. They were fine. They got the non-stress test monitors on in the correct spots, and the babies looked perfect. Their heart rates were perfect. Everything was good. I was still contracting, but not as bad. But then, so they said they were going to send me home. They checked my cervix. I am either closed, somewhere between closed and 0.5 centimeter dilated. So that really means nothing. I could have been 3 centimeters dilated and hung out there for like 3 weeks at that amount. So that didn't really mean anything unless you check it again later and see if there's any dilation. So when they told me they were sending me home, I was kind of confused because I thought that they were going to have to check it again. But I guess the doctor felt confident that the contractions slowed down, they weren't as bad, and the babies looked totally fine. So they sent me home and said, if you have more than 6 of the strong, long contractions in an hour, to call back. But when they discharged me, I was still having them more than 6 in an hour. So I was like, wait a minute. Like, do you want me to come back in an hour? Because I'm still having them. Like, so that was kind of hard to tell. So I was just like chugging water, because I know when you're a little dehydrated, it can cause contractions. So I was trying to chug water, and I was like, well, it sucks if I have to come back for nothing, but I'll just keep monitoring them, I guess. And then eventually, like an hour or 2 later, it slowed down, so it wasn't 6 of those in an hour. And then it's been fine since then. So I still get them. I still get the long ones that are definitely not just Braxton Hicks, but not 6 in an hour. So I guess we're okay. And I will have another non-stress test at the end of this week, as well as an ultrasound. So keep you guys posted on that. My shoulder pain, we finally got the knots out. It's still, now it's just back to my regular knots, but not how it was before. If you guys watched my other video, they were killing me, like the worst ever. It just felt like everything was pinched, and it was just terrible. So now it's more just, I have knots like I always do, and yes, I would like a massage, but I'm not dying. But now, woohoo, just always something. I've got my tailbone pain has returned that I had back when we went to Disneyland. And so it feels like right on my tailbone. It doesn't shoot down my leg, but just right on my tailbone. Little movements will just, and I can't predict when it's gonna happen. They just like, it's like sharp pain. Like, oh God. So I worry about when I'm going up and down the stairs if it happens, and like if I happen to be carrying Alina, which I try not to do if I don't have to, but I just worry if it happens, I don't want it to catch me off guard and then I lose my balance or something. So that's kind of the only other thing that's been bothering me. It's my back and then the fingers swelling. I got my eyelashes done, which I know people might be like, what the heck? How did you even lie there that long? But so I've only gotten them done 3 times in my life. Once was someone gifted it to me before I gave birth to Alina, and I was like, okay, I'll go get them done. And when I went for she offered me a free fill like a week and a half later. So when I went for the fill, that was the day that I ended up going into labor with Alina. So when I did this, and then the second time was a time in Hawaii, and I think the girl was just new, and she said they used some kind of new glue, I don't know, but they all fell off within like a week, and my lashes were like short after for like 6 months. It was so scary to me. So it was my like, I made it to 1 year breastfeeding, treat to myself. I was very excited about it. I got my hair done and the person totally bleached it way too much. So I had messed up eyelashes and messed up hair, and I was so sad. So this is the 3rd time that I've gotten them done. I'm pretty happy with it, so we'll see. Hopefully they don't fall out. I just got them done yesterday. And I think, and it was again gifted to me, which I really appreciate. I don't typically spend money on that kind of stuff because I just stay at home all day. But I really think, like, if you have a close friend or like a sister or someone, like, it's such a nice gift to give somebody, because I think gifts are great when you get someone something that they would appreciate, but they would never spend the money on it themselves. Just like a treat, you know? And so the reason why I like getting them done before I give birth is because after you give, and this shouldn't matter, but it does. Like, a lot of women struggle with, like, after they give birth and your body just looks kind of crazy and you're pumping and nursing and everything hurts, and you just, you know, you're like swollen from the IVs or whatnot, and just the whole process, you feel kind of yucky. And so to be able to at least look in the mirror and be like, oh hey, I don't look that bad today. Like, I think it speaks a lot to that little extra boost of self-confidence that you might need. And new moms don't have time for makeup typically, so having something just already on, it does kind of give you a little like boost to take on the day, I think. And so it's just a sweet gift, and I'm grateful that someone gave that to me. At 33 weeks, they said that they do have a, you know, very high survival rate, risk or percentage. But of course we don't want them to come yet because their lungs really aren't done developing until like 36, 37 weeks. And they would probably need an NG tube at this point to get their, to get food into their stomachs. So we really just, as uncomfortable as I am, it's nothing compared to, like, I just don't want them to suffer or have to deal with those problems. And so I just really hope I can keep them in for a bit longer. We're lucky enough that we have family that came early, and so they're coming to help take care of Alina, just so I don't have to lift her so much throughout the day, and if I need to nap, I can nap. And I think just chasing her around, I forget to drink water, and so it's just more taking care of these babies and have help taking care of my other baby. So I'm very appreciative for that. And that's about it for this update. But so we had a little scare, but everything was fine, and we will check on them again in a week. So thanks for watching. I hope you guys are getting to see these videos. Give it a thumbs up if you got to see it. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hopefully there'll be a bunch more of these updates before the babies come, but we're getting at the end here, so things might get exciting. Before I go, I'll do a quick bump shot. I'm getting humongous, so bear with me. Again, I just want to preface this with, at 30 weeks, a twin mama is about, the uterus and tummy and whatnot is about the size of a full-term 40-week pregnant person with one baby. So cut me some slack. I'm 33 weeks, and here we go. All right, I tried to tuck my dress back so you guys can see it as much as possible, but this is 33 weeks. Crazy. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.